Yo, this is Dova Blackhat Gaming. I do RPG games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout and many more. Subscribe to see more and enjoy the video.
The Reach is known for its Dwemer ruins, but this place is different. The lack of a proper Dwemer name gives it away. This is no ordinary ruin, but I do feel safe having you here. We'll need your experience to get us through any traps. Let's take a closer look. The gate was recently torn down, but the blood is dry. There's a good chance that whoever came here is long gone. As soon as you're ready, lower the lift.
Thank you for, well, everything. You've made my world brighter.
A reception area. Security must have been top priority. Notice the alignment of the ballista on the ceiling. They were just as concerned about keeping their own people where they needed to be.
Found our mystery guest, Purity. And based on this note, the heroes as well.
What does it say?
Orders to guide Bosca and several of his comrades through these ruins happened right after the attack on Jonestead. The tone towards the heroes is pretty harsh.
More evidence of an uneasy alliance between the two.
It doesn't seem Purity cared about what was locked up in this place, even the location of Sky's Divide. They were just sick of hearing the heroes' complaints about being kept on a need-to-know basis, so Purity threw them something to chew on. Guess it wasn't enough. Take a look at it if you want. They also brought along a few books on the Dwemer.
Do you see a switch?
The Tales of
We need to
Serana
lower the
and her
gate.
charming death assassin. I'd actually want to read that. Calling it. This one's teamwork right there.
Damn it! I should have known better.
It's fine. One of us was bound to push it eventually. And it opened the gates.
There was a translation guide attached to the Purity Scholar's note. If I just... Got it. This dialect is archaic, all right. Even without years of studying other variations of Dwemeris, it shouldn't be too hard to translate.
It's that easy?
To be fair, my squad was often sent batches of confiscated Dwemer relics so they could be properly impounded. I got curious and picked up a little on the known vocabulary. Then in the Sirens, the encoding, decoding of all those messages...
The 0-1 system.
Invented by Matari herself.
What does it say?
Hey, don't sniff me too
Welcome
much.
to Installation 1621.
It all makes sense now. This is a research center. One with a number and not a name. It almost certainly means that it was kept a secret to the general population. There are theories about the nature of the experiments the Dwemer conducted. But little evidence remains after the passing of time and the deterioration of the strongholds. This place, on the other hand, is intact and relatively untouched. Everything we find here may be undocumented by modern historians. Exactly. Maybe more than enough. And too much. Trisha, Kasha, go on ahead. We'll be along shortly.
Sure.
We need to discuss something in private. Once Trisha starts translating whatever else we find, it wouldn't be appropriate to bring it up. Commander, what do you think of Matari? What do you think of her as a person? Is that what you think? Or is that what Serenity and Purity told you? The other sirens. Do you know what they do? They impose their ideas of what she is like onto her. To them, she's a living sculpture that can be molded. That's how she can be so easily idolized. Each siren has her own interpretation of the perfect Matari. We define her. I can't answer that.
The only Dwemer
Not
who didn't
Serenity.
disappear was Yagdam
Not
Bazar,
Purity.
who wasn't on
They
Nern
said
at
we
the
have to
time.
see things for ourselves.
Divines know where he is nowadays.
That's why we're here. But by being here alone without guidance, we're taking a great risk. As frivolous as it seems, Purity and the Holy Matron's secrecy may actually have a purpose. Purity could have just as easily undermined our efforts to stop Matari in our own way by telling you everything. But what if the truth, in its rawest form, really is interpretive? Telling you one
I've read the
thing
layout of
or the
Dwemer ruins
other
in Varden
may
found
have
quite
yielded
different from
unpredictable
those in Skyrim.
results. It
I'll
could
have
have
to see for
upset the
myself one
balance in the
day.
war even further. It might have even provoked sympathy from you towards her. Look at where we are. A Dwemer research center. I don't need to tell you what it implies about Matari. There's a saying among the Ashen. The truth can either be what frees you, or destroys you. I'm worried that what we find here isn't going to be easy for anyone to take in. We may not suffer physically for what we learn, like we would from an Elder Scroll. But if the behavior of those you've spoken to is any indication, our minds might. Just promise me that you won't lose sight of who we're fighting. I don't want to lose you like I did with Misha.
To Sky's Divide would be around the forge.
It's a big place. Kasha and I will take a look around to see what else we can find. Commander, remember what I said.
If it's none of my business, I won't ask. But you'll understand that I find it sort of annoying. So, what do you make of that? I've never seen an automaton constructed in anything other than the typical orange-yellow hued metal. A functional one at that. Give it some steam and you'll be able to get that thing up and running again. This gives us an idea of what we're dealing with down here. Experimental technology. Don't know whether I should be hoping that most of them were successes or failures. That can't be Ebony. The Dwemer would never sacrifice quality. Let's see what we have over here. I found it. Go get Lilith and Kasha. They need to see this. In the northern sea, between this land and the Nordic cradle of life, is the Dark Tower. It pierces the heavens, serving as a rightful monument and just prison for the anomaly. Skies divide.
The coordinates place a divide, right in the middle of the Sea of Ghosts, south of Atmora.
The tablet goes on to warn supply vessels about turbulent weather in the area. I say we find a seasoned captain in Solitude and set sail. We'd get there in just a few days if we ride the stream.
We're not going anywhere. The heroes of Nirn are already at Sky's Divide.
There were 4 tests used by the Dwemer in the planning of their cities.
So, what do we do now?
Disorder,
At least
evasion,
we know where to go.
and confrontation.
But we're still not any
It's a
closer to
sensible
solving
system.
our problem.
We keep searching. These tablets were out in the open, but there could be more in the other rooms. I noticed a gated door in the far side of the chamber with 2 empty lexicon receptacles, possibly leading into the Overseer's quarters. Assuming the lexicons are still somewhere in the Bastion, we can lower the gates. Trisha, there's a reason why Purity doesn't care about Sky's Divide, while Serenity and her people believe it's the key. We can't trust what anyone says on faith alone. Not anymore. Before we try to stop Matari, we need to be sure it's going to work.
No one is going into any of the other rooms alone.
We can go.
I'm not so sure.
I'll be fine. The 2 of us can work on translations. I'll bring some books from the reading area.
Focus on finding the lexicons so we can open the gate. But if you find anything that is still legible, bring it to me and I'll get it translated.
Which room should we check out? No, it's nothing. I'm just not in a talkative mood. Everything feels so hopeless, don't you think? We're only a group of 4. How can we stop Matari, Purity, and the heroes? It should be obvious to me by now, but good idea. I can't help but get worried after remembering everything that Serenity said. Too bad Trisha isn't here. She could translate that tablet on the wall. This is incredible. Imagine how it looked when it was packed. Careful. You can't tell what's around the corner. Do you think this is where they studied their test subjects? It would take a lot to have the heroes leave someone behind. We should be careful in the hallway up ahead. Looks like those hallways are sealed off. Maybe it's for the best. Oh no. This was her chamber. Careful, the water's been standing for thousands of years. It might be contaminated. How did the lexicon end up here? Someone really wanted it to go missing.
Easy.
You asked for it. Weapons up. I sent
I will be watching over you.
Take this!
Teamwork right there. Who's there?
fighting a daughter.
I thought there'd be automatons swarming the area. Isn't that how it normally is with these strongholds? I don't like it. Keep your guard up. Hand me the text and I'll write down the translated version on a scrap book. Suit yourself. There's plenty to talk about. I'll do the best I can with what we know so far. Phew. One of the tablets mentions the creation of the Void Sword right here in this forge. Besides that, I can't tell you what else the matrons took from this place. But if they had a war with Matari and lost it anyway, well, maybe it's a good thing they took the artifacts. Otherwise, we might have ended up using them ourselves. Serenity Sword. Baska's sword. It's had a long journey. The matrons took the sword from the Bastion, and it eventually ended up at Fort Pazarath. I wouldn't care too much about the sword, Commander. If it was used on Matari, it mustn't be as special as the Dwemer and matrons first thought. That's what I'm worried about. But let's trust the matrons on this one for now. They have more experience than any of us. Maybe more than Purity. Skies divide. A monument. And a prison. If this anomaly warranted the construction of an entire tower just to house it, do you think it's Matari? How much are you willing to bet it's made from the same material as the Void Sword in that Centurion? I have a hunch that the Dwemer were completely wrong about how to contain this anomaly. The Holy Matrons didn't figure that out until it was too late. The more texts you bring, the easier it'll be to piece things together. I was an Imperial Legion officer, had a fallout with the chain of command for disobeying orders, and was discharged. I had no gold and no home after that, so I was a beggar on the streets of Bruma for almost a year. The Sirens took notice and began offering me food and training so I could regain my fitness. I had no reason to decline their invitation to join the Order. Of course, I lied about why I was discharged. They aren't likely to take in people who question their superiors. I figured you'd ask. I already told Lilith the whole story, but go on. I knew they would tell the others that I left the province. So I thought I might as well irk them by staying but as far away from the palace as possible. I always liked the city. Because of the war, it wasn't hard finding work. All I asked for as payment was a daily meal. Being a beggar for a few good years teaches you how to live on the bare minimum. I still am. After we're finished dealing with Matari, I'm going back. Not anymore. I'm not insisting. Submitting to fate is more like it. I already said that I was dishonorably discharged from the Imperial Legion. Same with the Sirens. Why bother trying again if I have loyalty issues? I know about the Circle. Just like Matari and her maidens. You can never trust your leaders. Nothing would make me happier than to fight at your side. But even as Harbinger, the old habits of your faction will be hard to break. Did I? If I wasn't so damn sure that my attack plan for Pazarath was going to work, would I have said anything? Anything to get me tossed into a ditch by 5 maids with paper-thin personalities so I could join you and Lilith? I've let my ego get the best of me far too often. Whatever comes out of my actions, good or bad, is never what I intend. I do things because I want to prove myself right. I'm sorry, Commander. I'm not as heroic as you would like to believe. Just saving the world. It was a little while after you left on your mission with Freya. I was in my dormitory, finalizing the plans for the attack on Pazarath. I should have remembered the maidens have keys to all of our rooms. Melody and a couple of the others barged through the door. They went through their typical routine of acting cute. I tried to tell them that the plan I made was our best chance at winning back Pazarath. But they kept on arguing. The next thing I knew, I was lying in a ditch just outside Riften with a bump on my head. They left a note in my pocket. Don't come back, you're not wanted. They know me too well. More than I thought. Almost the exact same thing happened when I was kicked out of the Legion. They just couldn't resist leaving a lasting impression. I guess for them, it's a lot funnier than death. I disobeyed orders. It was as simple as that. One order was all it took. Just one that I had to disobey. It all began with a hostage situation. Forsworn had captured a family of 5, 2 adults, 3 children. The barbarians knew our style. To get the Legion's attention, you had to do something bold to get them choked up. The general was willing to do something about it. We never saw eye to eye, but just this once, he wanted to trust me. Or maybe I was all he had that day. None of this was ending up on the official records. Arguments over what saved more people. He played politics, I played war. That's what it all really came down to, in the end. No one bothers to negotiate with the Forsworn. Not after the rebellion. Hundreds are kidnapped each year. No matter how loud they screamed, in the eyes of the Legion, they weren't worth the trouble. We had our own problems. Still do. We got the terms of release. 7 Forsworn prisoners in exchange for the family. So we traveled to the appointed location. Wide open, grassy plains that you only see on the border. Right in the middle was the family and their captors. It was a simple exchange. No blades drawn, no words spoken. That should have been the end. A few weeks after that, I stumbled across the ransom note. There it was, the reason why these hostages were special. It was the General's family. ' Of course not. Many in the Legion had lost their own kin to the Forsworn. We didn't receive special treatment, so why should he? I never confronted the General over the note. I may have disagreed with him, but he was still an excellent soldier. The last thing I wanted to do was drag the Legion further into disarray by having him removed. In hindsight, I should have done something. Few weeks after the hostage situation, the General's caravan was attacked. Higher-ups believed the General was the sole survivor and in the hands of the Forsworn. Sure enough, they got the demand soon after. 5 of the most notorious, high-ranking Forsworn prisoners in our possession for the General. That wasn't gonna happen. My squad was given the order to rescue the General by any means necessary. Same location as the family, same serene landscape. Only this time, I came ready for battle. 5 archers on my side, 9 Forsworn on the other. Didn't take long for them to realize we were only there to exchange arrows. The General demanded that we lower our weapons. He threatened that I would be held accountable for any loss of life. That what I was about to do would only inflame tensions between the Forsworn and the people of the Reach. The General had been on the verge of brokering a treaty with the Forsworn, or so he claimed. And if I did anything to take all his years of sacrifice away, my life was finished. The General was just one man making sweet talk with one of the most dangerous groups this side of Tamriel. If he got his family and himself kidnapped, was he really making progress? But then I remind myself, the General was a smart man. If he succeeded, maybe it wouldn't have ended all skirmishes, but it could have saved lives. I hate thinking about it. What I've always done? Try to prove myself right. That moment was the ultimate test of everything I stood for. My beliefs against his. I was ordered to stand down. And just like that, I had my squad fire on the captors. We got the General out of there alive. He was furious. He filed a report the next day, citing that I was responsible for arranging the exchange with the Forsworn for his family. And as a result, provoked the attack on his caravan. Just like that, I was discharged from the Legion. Why wouldn't he? I destroyed everything he fought so hard to achieve in just seconds. Coupled with our different perspectives on life, I can't imagine he would have had it any other way than to see me cast out of the Legion for good. I was a threat to him. I don't blame him for what he did from a military standpoint. I ask that myself every so often. Would I? I'm still as stubborn as ever, but there are brief moments when I could see where the General was coming from. Me? I chose action with limited foresight. I rescued the General, believing that with him alive, the Legion would remain strong and capable of protecting the people. The General believed that inaction, or allowing the Forsworn to get what they want, would lead to a greater chance for peace in the long term. No one can say without a doubt whether or not he would have been right, but one thing's for sure. Forsworn activity did increase after the incident. But you have to ask yourself, are you willing to make the shot with no idea of the consequences? Are you ready to take the blame for leaving the world worse off more often than not by taking action? Or would you rather sit back and keep your hands clean, let fate guide the world without excess intervention? I took the shot. Look where I ended up. But I would be just as miserable had I not done anything. Maybe even more. Good for you. Let's just hope your luck doesn't run out anytime soon, yeah? I should get back to work on these translations. It was good talking to you. Rarely have time for that these days.
Hope everyone enjoyed the
Back with
video.
more flattery,
Like,
I
comment,
see.
and subscribe. And hit the bell icon. See you all on the next video. Enjoy life.
Yeah?
And
I should...